Hello everyone, I'm Debbie Polachek. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. This is going to be our project we're going to make today. We're going to make another little shadow box, and we're going to be using this stamp set here called Peaceful Place, and it's done on watercolor paper, and we actually use the sprinkling pigment sprinkles to color it. We used some white cardstock to make the little flowers. And the punch that was in the celebration is a small little flower. Now you could use, maybe you might have another little punch, or even freehand cut some flowers like that. That's about a 1-inch flower, and I'll show you how I did it. And we're also going to be using some of these. What else is there that we're going to be using? Oh, and the frame itself is made from poster board, and I'm going to leave a link in the video, I think, in order to put take you to how to cut it out. But I'll show you in this video because this is a little different size than our other one was. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. I stamped on watercolor paper with my Stamparatus with StazOn ink. Pigment sprinkles on a block. I've got the green, I've got the blue, and I've got the red, which is more like a pink. So I'm going to start off with, this looks like just a regular tree right here to me. So I just started off by spraying some water on these, and I do have some water in my pen. And I'm going to look at this, and does this look a good color to me? It looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and go with this. Now the shadow colors of green is a darker version of this, or more of a muted version. I'm not real sure how you would say it. But the shadow colors, you would go opposite the color wheel in order to achieve that. So I'm going to take a little bit of red and mix it in with my green, where the pink is the closest we have to the red. So we'll have pink and the green, and this color will give you kind of a brown color, and I'm going to go underneath those areas that I painted green, and notice that I left some spots in there, and probably on top I would want the more truer color, and on the bottom of these little sections more of the red is in it, and which makes a brown. Red and green makes a brown. And if I wanted it a little bit more red, a little bit more green, I would just add a little bit more green to my mixture, so it won't be quite so brown. But vary it. You know, it doesn't have to stay the same throughout. And to me, the best way to do any type of art is to make a very basic color, like a red, a yellow, and a blue. Well, in this case I just picked the green because there's a lot of greenery in here. It just makes it a little bit faster. Okay, now for that, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna leave that the way it is. Now this is more of a cedar tree, which is more green and a little blue. Actually, it's more of a cedar colored tree, and if you need some more green, just go back and pick up some more green before you add it to it. So you can see you're getting quite a few colors just out of these 3 colors. These are all cedars, and they would actually get lighter as they go back further in the distance. Okay, now what else do we have here? It looks like we have like just some green grass, and I'm going to go ahead and get some yellow out now because I do want that to lighten up that grass a little bit more with more of a lighter color. So what I'll do is mix the green with the yellow this time. And so here we go with the yellow get a dab of this green, put it in there. I'm going to put that way in the distance of that hillside that's behind this tree. And this is kind of the highlighted area of that. So then I want to kind of get it a little bit darker as I come forward with it. Okay. And I think that's like dirt in here or along these sides, the banks of this land here. I'm noticing I'm leaving the branches unpainted right now because I want this to dry before I go back and hit that. Okay, this is the same grass, and I would say since it's closer, it would be a little bit more brighter than this patch over here. I'm going to even add a little bit of this along the sides. Okay, and this must be another patch of grass here, right here on the tree. It'd have to be. And I'm going to have that about the same color as this foreground here, because it's on about the same level of planes here. Here's another branch. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and go to the browns. Pretty in there. Probably not, but let's see. Nope, that's just the way it is. Okay. Okay, and again, I'm getting quite a bit of water right here on this, on the way in the background of this. And I want it to eventually get darker as it comes up forward here. Even leaving a little space in between kind of leaves a little sparkle on the water by leaving that little bit of light space. And if it does get too dark, you can come in with your paper towel and kind of blot it off. And this is kind of a reflection of that dirt, so we're going to need a little bit of that in there as well. And like I said, don't forget to leave a few little light spots. Then as you get closer, then you can darken up the water. I'm leaving some spots in here just for that reflection of that ground or the dirt right there. Okay, leave it like that. Now for the brown, I'll just go back in with this brown that we've already made here. Try that out. There's some dirt here. And again, it'll get lighter as you go back. So what did we make? Green, the green and the red to make the brown. I want to kind of try to get a little bit darker up here in front. And even some of these shadows here. Okay. Now the rock, I'm going to make that brown just so it'll go with the rest of the picture. And maybe a little bit more reddish brown. Let's try that. And to make this a little bit darker, you could stick a little bit of the blue inside that brown and get a little bit more of the shadow color underneath. Same under here if you wanted to make this a little bit darker in spots. Okay. Now let's go ahead and hit that brown Here, I think it should be dry enough in these trees. We'll fix to find out. Looking for that brown color again with that blue and that green and that red. Looks like I got a little bit of blue in there. That's okay. Start off with the darkest color down here. Then it'll get lighter as it goes up, just because there's sun involved in it. Okay. Now, do we want some more? I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to dry this a bit. Well, I'm going to go ahead and run that color out a little bit on the edges here, because I want this to kind of fill up my space here, because I've got a reason I'm making this. And don't want to leave it all. I want to leave it kind of fill up the corners, because I have it cut just the size I want it. Okay, now I'm just going to put some little bit of that reflection in the water here too from the dirt. Just kind of scratching some lines of that dirt color underneath it. Not solid lines, just like straight lines like that. The water's going this way, so that's the way your reflections will be going. Okay. I want to go ahead and put a little bit more of that blue-green back in. No, not there. We'll get some of this soft green right in here, because this is more of that land back in there. Got it a little bit too dark. Okay, now I'm going to dry that, and we're going to put some of the blue in the sky. Without much green, I mean, without much blue at all. So let's try this. See what this looks like. I'm going to leave some spaces in between to kind of make you think there's clouds back in here. Perspectively wise, the clouds would be bigger up on top of the page than they would be. They would get smaller spaces in between them as you go further down. And the sky would also get lighter, so we need to add a little bit more water to that. Go behind these trees, trying to leave the branches out. Okay, that needs to be a little bit darker behind this tree here. I'm trying to make it about the same value of color as you're going down. Again, trying to get lighter and lighter is it, so I don't want to get any darker than that is right there on this very far in the distance here. Just going to try to cover up some of that white spots. Okay. Yes. Smudge in some of those reflections. Okay, I think that'll do it for this little painting. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this and stamp this several times. Same thing with some of my scraps of my watercolor paper that I have left. So many colors here, I better make sure that it is. Yeah, I must have had some of that blue in that one. The same here, if I want to leave a little highlights, I just leave a little white spot. A little bit of the paper showing, and that gives you a highlight. Without much work. Okay, we got a squirrel. What color's a squirrel? He's got to be brown, right? Not quite as red brown as that. Maybe more of a golden brown, actually. I think squirrels are more of a golden brown, so you need a little bit of yellow. A little bit more of that yellow in there. Brown, red, green. A little bit of red, green, and then more yellow. Let's try that. Yeah, and again, leave some of the white spots in there so that he'll have highlights, particularly on the top part of him. Top part of his back, top part of his bushy tail. Maybe even the top part of that thigh there, even a little bit on the foot. Top part of his arm. Okay, let's kind of blot him a little bit. Okay, now we go back with a little bit of the brown underneath in certain areas that it might be a little bit darker. Under his chin, under his arm, under his belly, and there maybe. I think that's pretty good. Okay, now we did those rocks. Look like we did those kind of a reddish browns. So here we go with the red, blue, green, and we need more red now. Ooh. Okay, let's try that. A little bit more green. Okay. Those are like little daisies here. That's what that is. Little daisies. A little bit yellow out here. Got a little nut in his hand. It's cute. Okay, we got some green grasses here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go and cut these out, and I'll be back. Okay. Now, I've got all my little pieces cut out, and I also cut a 1/2 inch piece of scrap and put it 1/2 inch by 1 inch, and I cut it, I scored it at 1/4 of an inch on the short side, so I made like a little stand for my squirrel here. And I punched small blossom, 9 altogether of the small blossom punch. I think this was only so far in the, in the celebration, one of the free items. So, so you might be able to use some other little punch that you might have on hand to do this, because what I'm looking for some like little roses, little flowers, little daisies, some kind of little flower to put in with our little arrangement here. And how I'm going to do that is I poked holes in the center of each one of these, and I'm going to just mist it real lightly on both sides. And my hands are a little grungy from inking. I also inked inside of here to kind of get rid with early espresso to try to get rid of some of those white lines all around the edges. And since I didn't think about washing my hands were a little bit grungy, so it kind of grunged up my flowers, which is okay because it kind of helps go along with the scenery better. And then I just took those three and just scrunched them up real good. Now I'm taking one of the Stamens. Again, I'll leave the link below for the Stamen. It's an Amazon product. And stick it right there in my hole. If I would have remembered to put the hot glue gun on, that would have been real good, but I didn't. But anyway, I'll just use this and some glue. And just kind of squeezing it around there. I'm not trying to be perfect or in any shape or form. If it staggers a little bit, that's good. Better than if it doesn't. But if it doesn't, it probably won't show up that much. These flowers are so small. Then I'm going to take a little bit of glue and glue inside this last one. And I'll take about a small piece, about 4 inches. I'm going to go ahead and stretch it first so it'll kind of activate that wax inside of there. I'll curl up an end. I like to do that because it's easier for me to hold on to it. I'm not a florist by any means, so this stuff ain't real fun for me to work with. So anyway, I just take that and wrap it around. Go around there several times at first. Squeeze it as tight as you can. I think I just broke off some of my flowers. I did. What I'll do is go back and glue those on there in just a second. Instead of starting over. These don't need to be very long because it's not going to be much of a... I'm just pushing that up a little bit. Then I'm going to just take some glue and glue it around here. And this, my flowers are still wet. That's why it broke so easy. And just glue that back as best I can. When that dries, that'll be fine, because that paper will harden up. That was very vanilla paper. I don't know if I remember to tell you that or not. And so anyway, now we got I'm making another shadow box, so I'm going to send you to the video how to make one, but this one's going to be a different size. And so I started off with a piece of cardstock that was 11.5 by 10.5. And as you can see, I scored it in the same spots. That was a 3/4, 1.5, 2 1/4, and 3. And then when I made these additional squares, and I did it on the shorter end, not the longer end, but the shorter end, I did it at 3 3/4 and 6 3/4. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Watch the video that I'll link you to. I'll put a link right here at the top of the video. Just smash on that, it'll take you straight to that, and then you can come back. Glue the box together, stop and come back and watch this video, because I'm going to do it one step before I'll go ahead and put the tearing tape along the front of my side here, the front side here on these parts, and the little short ones on the back side, just like I did in the video. You can go ahead and go to that point. Once you get to that point, stop and then come back. put some this wood looking paper. I need to cut pieces that'll fit in these 3 sections here on all 4 sides of these. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces 2 1/4, and I'm covering up that 1/4 inch line because I don't want to see that line. If I see that line, my paper would probably be too short. So I'm cutting 2 pieces 2 1/4, the full length of the 12 by 12 paper. Now I probably will not need every bit of this. We'll see. Okay. Now I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this 5 1/2 inches long and 2 pieces 4 1/2 inches long. Now with the glue, the tape side that the long sides are on, I'm going to go ahead and glue all this area here real good. Then I'm going to take this other end of my glue thing off and smear it all around real good, particularly in those cracks and around the edges too, everywhere really. So I'm going to take the pieces that I need to be longer here, and I'm going to put it right on that score line and end to end. If it's a little bit off, if your cut is a little bit off, I'm going to show you a trick in order to fix that in a minute. So then take your bone folder, and go ahead and get that in there real good. Okay, same thing again on all 4 of these. Now I'm going to take this and trim this where it's supposed to be. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my this is the trick I was going to tell you about to see how that little bit of edges are showing, and I don't want to cut that off, so I'll just take my sponge dauber with some early espresso ink and go around there and make sure that those are all covered real good so the white edges don't show. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my box together. Start off with these longer ones. Make sure that this one is in that edge here. Kind of go over this real quick. If you need to see more details, you can go back to that other video and watch it. But I think it's pretty explanatory. See, it's done that way in the corner here. Take these little areas off on both sides. Square it up. Push it down. Square it up, push it down. Same thing on this side. Push it in there as far as you can. and push it down. Okay, now you've got your little frame. Now I'm going to go in here and stick this little fella in here. If I need to trim it, I will, but I think it looks just fine. Then take it out so I can glue it in there. Take my bone folder. In there real good. Okay. I'll take my little squirrel and I'm going to put him down the left-hand corner right here at the bottom, towards the bottom. And put that about right there. I can use hot glue since I've got my hot glue gun on. And put them in here. Yeah, let's give it a try. Now I'm going to take my heat gun and kind of get rid of these little spider webs I made with the hot glue gun. Okay. Now I want to work some flowers. I probably want to go ahead and stick with the ones mainly right around this little squirrel. I believe. Yeah, because if I put him over here, it'll take away from him too much. So I'm going to go ahead and put my flowers here. I think what I'll do though is build out on the leaves first. See how I want to arrange these leaves. I've got several of them cut. I think I want to have some of them so they're hanging inside the picture. Some. Make like a shape like that. I'll go ahead and glue these down. Okay, for the back of the shadow box, I decided to cover it with some more of the wood grain paper. I'm going to put some wood grain paper like this around here. Now you could go ahead and white emboss like a sentiment there if you wanted to. And maybe even just stick a little white business size card of paper here and put a little sentiment and sign underneath there. Or just use it as a shadow box, you know, it's just as a decoration for your home. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the back. Now on this piece, I cut another piece of the poster board, and the poster board is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2, and I covered it both sides just like I did on this with the wood grain paper. And actually I pieced this one together because the wood grain was going the wrong direction, so I just pieced it right there, and you can't tell because it does that in wood grain anyway. So anyway, then I scored it 1 inch from each end on the long end to make another type of easel here. So what this is going to do is I'm going to glue it right to the back, right there, and if I put it to the 1/4 inch down here, that should be at just the right spot it needs to be. Just glue this down. Just put it to the center, which is like that. Hold it. Now you got your perfect little easel for your card. Okay, I want it about right there, and it end about right there. Square on my do it with my early espresso. Mess that up a little bit. Let me turn it over and try it again. I rocked it. I rocked the boat. That's better. Okay, I'm going to glue that straight down. See what this looks like. Just sponge the edges a little bit. Yeah, I think that's good. Since I got my little sponge thing here now and my glue deal, it sure's made everything a lot handier. I'll leave a video, a link to the video below, so you can click right onto that and watch that if you like. Sure is a nice little piece for my craft room. I have enjoyed it. It's one thing I use every time I craft almost, especially with the glue part of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you. Bye-bye.